Tatiana looked nervous, sitting among the group. She was the first homeschooled representative to join the leadership of the GSA network, which had traditionally been composed of presidents and representatives from various Fresno and Clovis high schools. Her presence was unique. Throughout that first meeting, she didn't say much, but I could tell she was excited to be there. After the meeting, I approached her and asked her if she wanted to hang out with a few of us and get to know the group. She happily agreed. Tatiana fit into the organization seamlessly. She had been raised by Janet, an activist mother who had embraced her with open arms when she came out. Janet was the kind of mom every queer child deserved. She had taught Tatiana about social justice from a young age, and Tatiana had grown up immersed in the deaf community, despite her family being hearing. It didn't take long for Tatiana's natural leadership to shine. She eagerly took on any project and soon became a cornerstone of Fresno's GSA. Tatiana lived just 2 blocks away from me, and we quickly started hanging out several times a week. Janet welcomed the influx of teenagers into her home, which became a haven for many. For kids with unsupported parents, Janet's house provided a refuge, a place where they could truly be themselves. Her warmth filled every corner, and her house became a sanctuary for misfits. The memories I have of that living room are endless. Pillows scattered across the floor, random teens lounging everywhere, all of us glued to the TV as we devoured the first season of The L Word. Birthday parties, holiday celebrations, 4th of July fireworks, Easter egg hunts, lighting the menorah for all 8 nights of Hanukkah. Janet made sure everyone felt included. Mi casa es su casa was her mantra, and laughter was always in abundance. Janet and my mom became friends too. Proud mothers of activist kids, they supported us in ways not all parents could. Janet was involved in PFLAG, while my mom, already surrounded by a close-knit LGBTQ+ community, didn't feel the need for additional support groups. When GSA events included parents, the two of them usually arrived together. They welcomed new parents, eased anxieties, and quietly watched us take the lead during meetings, beaming with pride. Then came the day my mom was rushed to the hospital. Janet was there that first day, sitting with me in the waiting room before driving me home. She assured me my other family members had everything under control and that I needed to rest. Over the next 2 weeks, she visited my mom regularly. One day I walked into the ICU and I found her holding my mom's hand, promising her that I'd always have a seat at her table. That moment meant the world to me. After my mom passed, Janet's home became even more of a refuge. The first Christmas I spent without my mom was in Janet's living room. I had 6 gifts under the tree, thoughtful, personal ones. Janet had even put up a picture of my mom, ensuring her presence was felt. That Christmas, surrounded by love, I wasn't sad. Janet sparkled brighter than the season itself. When I returned to Fresno after my first time in Portland, the first place I went was Janet and Tatiana's house. All my old friends were there, and for a moment it felt like nothing had changed. But as Tatiana and I began to drift apart, Janet remained a constant. I still spent holidays at her house, hugged her tightly at events, and felt her unwavering support. Janet wasn't just a mother figure to me. She was a beacon of love for dozens of queer and allied youth. Tatiana and I had a falling out, but when I moved back to Portland, I made sure to visit her one last time. We reminisced, talked about my plans, and she reassured me that her door was always open, regardless of how Tatiana felt. That was the last time I saw her. Tatiana and I tried to reconcile over the years, but she made up her mind about me. No apology or conversation could change her feelings. I had hurt her deeply in the past, and though I had taken accountability, it wasn't enough for her. Even her wife, who I had introduced her to, wouldn't speak to me. I missed my friend, but Tatiana's indifference made it clear our relationship was beyond repair. When I heard about Janet's passing, it was through mutual friends. They assumed I already knew. At the time, I was struggling to make ends meet and couldn't afford to travel to Fresno for the funeral. I had to grieve from a distance, grappling with the reality that I'd never feel her warm hug again. Her table, the one that had always welcomed me, was gone. Grieving Janet while trying to survive was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I carried immense guilt for not keeping in touch with her in her final years, and for the way I'd hurt Tatiana. In Tatiana's eyes, I was irredeemable, unworthy of respect or acknowledgement, and perhaps I had been. Years later, Tatiana and I spoke briefly when a mutual friend, Ray, died by suicide. I reached out to offer comfort, but her response was cold and distant. Shortly after, she blocked me, and I found myself mourning Ray, Janet, and my friendship with Tatiana all at once. It was in that moment that I began to find closure. I've forgiven Tatiana for her indifference, even if she'll never forgive me for my mistakes. She has built a life far removed from the person she once was. The Tatiana I remember no longer exists. Yet I still root for her. I bought her book when it came out, and my heart swells with pride whenever I hear about her successes. Regret is a heavy burden, but I've learned to use it as a tool for growth. I've made amends where I could, and though I'll always carry guilt, I refuse to let it define me. My evolution as an empathetic person is my tribute to the lessons I've learned. I am lucky. I've been surrounded by incredible people who have shaped me, including those who no longer want me in their lives. And in every new connection, I feel the presence of Janet, my mom, and others who've passed. They remind me to keep moving forward with love, community, and respect lighting my path.